statins might be silently stealing your golden years, while your doctor remains completely unaware of the devastating side effects that could be robbing you of your memory, muscle strength, and vitality right now. But first, subscribe to this channel because what I'm about to reveal could save your life and give you back the energy you thought was gone forever. The hidden dangers of statin medications that millions of seniors take daily represent one of the most shocking cover-ups in modern medicine. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why pharmaceutical companies desperately want to keep this information buried while your own physician continues prescribing these potentially dangerous drugs without mentioning the terrifying risks that could be destroying your body from the inside out. Let me tell you about Margaret, a vibrant 71-year-old grandmother who loved gardening, playing with her grandchildren, and taking long walks with her husband of 47 years until her doctor prescribed a common statin medication that transformed her from an active, sharp-minded woman into someone who couldn't remember her own grandchildren's names or climb a single flight of stairs without gasping for breath. Margaret's story isn't unique. It's happening to thousands of seniors every single day. And the most heartbreaking part is that it's completely preventable if you know what your doctor isn't telling you about these supposedly safe cholesterol medications. You see, when Margaret first visited her cardiologist after a routine blood test showed slightly elevated cholesterol levels, she trusted her doctor completely when he assured her that statins were perfectly safe, just like taking a daily vitamin, and that she'd need to take them for the rest of her life to prevent a heart attack. What he didn't tell her was that within just 3 months, she would begin experiencing muscle weakness so severe that she could barely lift her coffee cup, memory fog that made her forget conversations she'd had just hours before, and a crushing fatigue that made her feel like she was aging 10 years in 10 weeks. The pharmaceutical industry has spent billions of dollars convincing both doctors and patients that statins are miracle drugs that prevent heart disease and stroke. But what they're not telling you is that these medications can cause a condition called statin-induced myopathy, which literally means your muscles are being broken down and destroyed at the cellular level, leaving you weak, exhausted, and vulnerable to falls and injuries that could change your life forever. Imagine waking up one morning and feeling like someone has been beating your muscles with a hammer all night long, then struggling to get out of bed because your legs feel like they're made of concrete, only to discover that the medication you've been taking to protect your heart is actually destroying your body's ability to produce the energy your muscles need to function. This isn't just about muscle pain. We're talking about a systematic breakdown of your body's most essential functions because statins don't just lower cholesterol, they block your body's production of coenzyme Q10, a vital nutrient that your heart, brain, and every muscle in your body depends on for energy production at the cellular level. Think of CoQ10 as the spark plugs in your car's engine. Without them, nothing runs properly. And when statins deplete this crucial nutrient from your system, your entire body begins to malfunction in ways that most doctors never connect to the medication they prescribed. Margaret's husband, Robert, watched helplessly as his wife of nearly 5 decades gradually disappeared before his eyes, becoming confused, weak, and dependent on him for tasks she had performed effortlessly for years. And when he asked their doctor if the statin could be causing these problems, he was told that the benefits far outweighed any minor side effects and that Margaret should continue taking the medication. But here's what that doctor didn't know or chose not to share. Recent studies have shown that statins can increase your risk of developing type 2 diabetes by up to 46%, can cause severe memory problems that mimic early-stage dementia, and can lead to a condition called rhabdomyolysis, where your muscle tissue literally dissolves and can cause kidney failure and death. You might be thinking, but my doctor told me that high cholesterol will cause a heart attack, so isn't it worth the risk? And that's exactly what the pharmaceutical companies want you to believe. But the truth is that cholesterol is not the villain it's been made out to be. In fact, your brain is 25% cholesterol, and this essential substance is required for hormone production, cell membrane integrity, and cognitive function, which means that artificially lowering your cholesterol too much can actually harm your health rather than protect it. The most shocking revelation came when Margaret's daughter, who happened to be a research nurse, decided to investigate her mother's condition and discovered that many countries with populations that have the highest cholesterol levels also have the lowest rates of heart disease, while populations with very low cholesterol levels often suffer from higher rates of depression, cognitive decline, and increased mortality from causes other than heart disease. This discovery led her to dig deeper into the research, and what she found will absolutely astound you. Multiple large-scale studies have shown that for people over 65, having higher cholesterol levels is actually associated with longer life expectancy and better cognitive function, completely contradicting everything we've been told about cholesterol being dangerous for seniors. The French paradox, for example, shows us that French populations consume large amounts of saturated fat and have relatively high cholesterol levels, yet they have some of the lowest rates of heart disease in the developed world, suggesting that other factors like inflammation, stress, and processed food consumption play much larger roles in cardiovascular health than cholesterol levels alone. Margaret's family decided to seek a second opinion from a functional medicine doctor who specialized in senior health, and this physician immediately recognized the signs of statin toxicity, explaining that Margaret's symptoms were classic indicators of medication-induced nutrient depletion and muscle damage that could be reversed if they acted quickly. The functional medicine approach focused on gradually reducing Margaret's statin dosage while supporting her body's natural healing processes with targeted nutrients like CoQ10, magnesium, and vitamin D, along with dietary changes that would naturally support cardiovascular health without the devastating side effects of pharmaceutical intervention. Within just 6 weeks of beginning this new protocol, Margaret began to notice improvements in her energy levels, and within 3 months, she was back in her garden, playing with her grandchildren, and enjoying the active lifestyle she thought she had lost forever, proving that the human body has an incredible capacity to heal when given the proper support and when harmful medications are removed from the equation. But here's what's truly infuriating about this entire situation. The symptoms that Margaret experienced, muscle weakness, memory problems, fatigue, and cognitive decline, are often dismissed by conventional doctors as normal signs of aging, which means that thousands of seniors are suffering unnecessarily while their doctors continue prescribing statins without ever connecting the medication to the patient's declining quality of life. The pharmaceutical industry has been incredibly successful at marketing statins as preventative medicine, convincing both doctors and patients that these drugs should be taken by anyone over 50 as a form of insurance against future heart problems. But what they're not telling you is that the clinical trials used to approve these medications were conducted primarily on middle-aged men who had already experienced heart attacks, not healthy seniors who are taking statins as a preventative measure. This means that if you're a senior taking statins to prevent a first heart attack, you're essentially participating in an uncontrolled experiment with your own body, risking serious side effects for benefits that may not even apply to your age group or health status. The most disturbing part of this story is that there are natural, evidence-based alternatives to statins that can support cardiovascular health without any of the dangerous side effects, but these options are rarely discussed in conventional medical settings because they can't be patented and don't generate the massive profits that pharmaceutical companies depend on. For instance, studies have shown that magnesium deficiency is present in up to 80% of people who suffer heart attacks. Yet how often does your doctor test your magnesium levels or recommend magnesium supplementation as a first-line approach to cardiovascular health? Similarly, inflammation markers like C-reactive protein are much better predictors of heart disease risk than cholesterol levels, but most doctors continue to focus exclusively on cholesterol numbers while ignoring the inflammatory processes that actually cause arterial damage and plaque formation. Margaret's recovery didn't happen by accident.
It occurred because her family took control of her health care and refused to accept that declining quality of life was inevitable. And they discovered that supporting the body's natural healing mechanisms with proper nutrition, targeted supplements, and lifestyle modifications could be far more effective than pharmaceutical intervention. The key nutrients that help Margaret recover, CoQ10, magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin K2, are all substances that support cardiovascular health naturally, while actually improving energy levels, cognitive function, and overall vitality rather than causing the devastating side effects associated with statin medications. You might be wondering, if statins are so dangerous, why do doctors continue prescribing them? And the answer lies in the way medical education is structured and funded by pharmaceutical companies, which means that most physicians are taught to treat numbers on lab reports rather than to address the underlying causes of disease or to consider the long-term consequences of the medications they prescribe. Medical schools receive millions of dollars in funding from drug companies. Medical journals depend on pharmaceutical advertising revenue, and
Continuing education programs for practicing physicians are often sponsored by the same companies that manufacture the drugs being promoted, creating a system where financial incentives are aligned with prescribing medications rather than promoting natural healing approaches. This doesn't mean that your doctor is intentionally trying to harm you. Most physicians genuinely believe they're helping their patients by following the treatment guidelines they've been taught. But these guidelines are heavily influenced by industry-funded research that emphasizes the benefits of pharmaceutical intervention while minimizing or ignoring the risks and side effects. The tragedy is that by the time most seniors realize that their statin medication is causing more harm than good, they may have already suffered irreversible damage to their muscles, memory, or overall health, which is why it's crucial that you understand these risks before you experience them yourself. Margaret's story has a happy ending because her family acted quickly and sought alternative treatment. But imagine how different things might have been if they had simply accepted her doctor's assurance that her symptoms were unrelated to her medication and continued following the conventional treatment protocol. If you're currently taking a statin medication, or if your doctor has recommended that you start taking one, you need to ask yourself some serious questions. Are you experiencing any unexplained muscle weakness, memory problems, or fatigue that began after you started taking the medication? Has your doctor discussed the potential side effects with you, or did they simply tell you that the benefits outweigh the risks without explaining what those risks actually are? Have you been told that you'll need to take this medication for the rest of your life? Or has your doctor discussed natural alternatives that might be equally effective without the side effects? Most importantly, have you been given the information you need to make an informed decision about your own health care? Or are you simply following orders without understanding the full picture? The pharmaceutical industry depends on patients who don't ask questions, who trust their doctors blindly, and who accept declining health as an inevitable part of aging. But you have the power to take control of your own health and demand better solutions than medications that may be causing more problems than they solve. Margaret's recovery proves that it's never too late to reverse the damage caused by pharmaceutical intervention and reclaim the vitality and cognitive function that you thought were gone forever, but only if you're willing to take action and explore alternatives that address the root causes of health problems rather than simply suppressing symptoms with potentially dangerous drugs. The choice is yours. You can continue following the conventional medical model that treats your body like a machine that needs pharmaceutical maintenance, or you can explore natural approaches that support your body's incredible ability to heal and thrive, even in your golden years. If Margaret's story resonates with you, if you recognize yourself in her experience, or if you simply want to protect yourself from the potential dangers of statin medications, then you need to take action today by educating yourself about natural alternatives, working with healthcare providers who understand the risks and benefits of both pharmaceutical and natural approaches, and most importantly, never accepting that declining health is simply an inevitable part of aging. Your golden years should be filled with energy, vitality, cognitive clarity, and the physical strength to enjoy all the activities and relationships that make life meaningful. And you deserve healthcare providers who are committed to helping you achieve those goals rather than simply managing your symptoms with potentially harmful medications. The truth about statins that your doctor doesn't mention is that these medications represent a one-size-fits-all approach to a complex health issue. And by taking control of your own health education and exploring personalized approaches to cardiovascular wellness, you can make informed decisions that support your long-term health and quality of life, rather than simply following treatment protocols that may not be appropriate for your individual needs and circumstances.